Are you looking for the best Zoe build known to man? Well, look no further, because in this video I'm going to show you the best Zoe build I have been able to come up with. I know how frustrating it can be that even the most skilled players using Zoe always become the most beautiful fireworks before the end of a raid. I have literally seen so many players wasting their precious time attacking Erin just to sparkle in the sky at 4.9%. So in this video, I will be teaching you how to become the most overpowered firecracker in the sky. Now, I know what you all is thinking, and yeah, this isn't some baseless video. I have spent a lot of time pondering, researching, and testing the best build for the Zoe family. I honestly used to hate this family so much until recently, and yeah, I can tell you now, it is just the Temu version of Aquaman with an excessive number of steroids. Disclaimer, I can't really assure you this is the best Zoe build out there, but it's what works for me. Hopefully it works for you as well. But if you've made it this far, please don't forget to leave a like and sub, and join my Discord in the description below. It really helps a lot. But with that, let's get into the video. So for those of you who happen to not know what the Zoe family is, the Zoe family is an epic family which can be obtained at a chance of 0.35%, and it grants the user 10% ODM control, 10% ODM speed, and 5% upgrade or skill reduction cost. This family also comes with the skill Last Stand. So what this does is that it sacrifices 35% of your health for a buff for 40 seconds, which when activated ignores all injuries, gives you a 15% damage boost, a 15% ODM speed boost, and 30% damage reduction. But if you do get injured while the mode is active, you will die after 30 seconds. This skill may seem handicapped, but there is a way to counter the dying after 30 seconds if you do get injured. Now you might be thinking, can't you just heal your injuries with bandages, right? Well, wrong. The devs thought about that, and you cannot heal your injuries with bandages. They only heal your health. But there is a skill that the devs did allow you to use, and it's emergency relocation. So basically, this is going to be your most important skill in your loadout. And what this skill does is that it sacrifices 30% of your health, but it instantly heals one injury, and it increases your injury chance reduction by 10% and crit chance by 40% for 10 seconds. But if you do get super guts, it will lower the health cost to only 15%, and if you get auto did that, it will last for 20 seconds instead of 10. So basically, this is the only move that can heal you while last stand is active. But it does cost health as well, so you will be losing a lot of health if you're a Zoe Clan user. Imagine losing 30% health, then you get injured, then you lose 15%. So you lose 45% health in total if you do get injured. That is why I have created a way to counter the chances of getting injured. But this is still the most important skill needed in your arsenal, just in case that somehow any injuries still exist, even after following all the precautions I am going to teach you in this video. So the skill you need is hand grinder. The reason being that going down the right side defense tree robs you of survivalist 1 and 2, which reduces the amount of letters you're meant to impute to escape from a titan. And in the end game, this overall makes it harder to escape, therefore increasing the chances of injuries. That's why hand grinder is the second most necessary skill on the list apart from last stand. So the third most important skill is Lethal Temple and not Rising Slash, because Rising Slash does kill more titans than Lethal Temple does, but you have to get to the ground or close to the titan's nips, which could risk you getting injured. That's why Lethal Temple, it just basically makes you invincible to titan attacks while it is active, giving you an escape move and an ability to kill titans without getting grabbed, unless it glitches, which happens sometimes. Yeah, it's just overall better in this scenario than Rising Slash. So that completes all the necessary skills needed for this Zoe build. The last skill is bandages, and this skill is not necessary. It is optional depending on the Zoe build you go for. If you go for Zoe build 1, which focuses on health regen and stuff like that, I advise do not use bandages. But if you go for Zoe build 2, that focuses on injury reduction chances, then I think using bandages will be better for you due to the fact that your health goes away pretty fast because of last stand and emergency relocation. So the first build we are going to be talking about is the injury chance reduction build. So what you want to do is to go down the right side defense tree until you get autodidact. Then you have to go down the right side support tree until you get injury 3, which reduces your injury chance by 12.5%, and injury 2 that reduces your injury chance by 7.5%, and injury 1 that also reduces your injury chance by 5.0%. And all that stacks up to give you 25% more injury reduction. And if you don't think that's crazy, then you also add a perk called Aegis that reduces your injury chance by 40%. So in total right now your injury chance should go down by 75, around like 75%. You also get an extra 15% from going down the defense tree, which would lead your total to being 15 plus 65, and that is 80% injury reduction. Then you also need to equip the perk Immortal, which uses your injury reduction by 40%. So at this point you should have 120% injury reduction. Now you can also increase this by getting an artifact that has injury reduction on it, preferably Lantern, because it still gives you ODM damage even though you lose 2 stats. So you should get Lantern with injury reduction on it. If you can get 9, that's good. If you can get 9, that's good. So then that will give you a total, if you get 9 on both of them, it would give you a total of 138% injury reduction. But if you have 8.0 and 8.9 like I do, it gives you a total of 136.9% injury reduction. And that is crazy, because if you also activate emergency relocation because you get injured somehow, you also get an extra 10% injury reduction. So that's 146.9% injury reduction. Also could be 148 if you get 9% on both your stats on the lantern. And that is why I call it the injury chance reduction build, or the last stand immortality build. It literally makes you unkillable if you're using Zoe family, and should remove all fear of you dying when last stand is activated. Now me, preferably, I do not like to use lantern. I prefer to use scarf due to the speed boost, the hook speed. It's just better for me. But if you do get injured a lot, just to be on the safe side, you could use the lantern with injury reduction on both stats. Now, this build fares pretty well with missions. I have tested it out on a bunch of missions, and when I say a bunch, I mean a lot of missions, about 100 plus. And the fastest time I was able to get with this build is about 2 minutes 30 seconds with ODM. So when you use it in missions, I barely, in fact, I did not even die using last stand once, except for the part where I was testing how many hits it takes for a titan to kill me when last stand is active, and I got about 28 hits, which is crazy, but it is a percentage chance, so it could be more or less. Just know it's within that 20 to 30 hits bracket, probably. So that is insane, and you are not getting hit more than 30 times in one mission, trust me. But when it comes to raids, I figured out that this build did significantly, well, not really significantly, but a little bit worse than the other build, because it takes more time to get 5%. And if you do get hit by Eren or other titans, or if you use last stand 20 times, you have to stay on the wall and wait for your HP to regen, and that takes ages, trust me. So soloing a raid with this build is moderately hard, but it's not impossible. It is possible, but just moderately hard. But it is really efficient if you're just trying to get 5% in raids. This build would work perfectly for you, and you would get 5% no problem without dying anytime last stand is active. So yeah, that's it. The pros of this build is the fact that you can't literally die in whatever you're doing, but the con is the health regen, which could prove as a problem during solo raids or raids with people if you spam last stand or emergency relocation too often. This could be countered with life feed, but it would be really stressful to be trying to kill a titan while not trying to get a hit in a raid. And if you, well, depends on the player's skill actually, if you're talking about it that way. But yeah, life feed counters that's problem in this build. Just the only issue is that I do not want to roll off my AG surge for life feed. I like AG surge better than life feed because it's better for the second build and more HP. It's just a preference thing. It's not something you guys should go after. Now it's time for build number 2, also known as the health regen build or the rejuvenation build. So for this build, what you want to do first is to go all the way down to damage 5 in the damage part of your skill tree. Then get all the way down to auto deduct in the defense part of your skill tree, just so you can have emergency relocation, super guts, adrenaline, and yeah, just all those. Then go all the way to health regen 6 in your support tree. Now if you're using AG surge, I suggest that you go all the way to health 9 in the defense tree. That is literally just maxing out defense tree, then stopping at health regen 5 in the support tree, because you AG surge scales with HP. So the more HP you have, the more defense you have when AG surge is activated, which could save you in times of trouble. But if you have something like life feed or not AG surge, or basically you still have AG surge but you think you have more than enough HP, then yeah, you could go all the way to regen 6, which would make your health regen crazy fast. Like, I mean, this build's health regen is crazy OP. Now for the layouts, the first move you're going to need is last stand. I've already explained this in the video. Second most important move is hand grinder, because you do not have survivalist 2, 3 or 1 any of, well, no, you do not have survivalist 2 or 3, you do have 1. The third most important skill you need is lethal tempo. There it is. Yeah, no, the third most important skill you need is lethal tempo. And we also kind of forget about emergency relocation. Now the difference in this build is that bandages are highly unrecommended. Not like highly unrecommended. The bandages are unrecommended with this build. You could still go for bandages, sure, if you want, if you get hit like a lot of times, or you know, just a bad player or skill issue or something like that. But now you could change your first part of the build for rising slash instead, which would help you kill more players. But then again, this is if you're more skilled and you don't get hit a lot. Just for the sake of, you know, using this video, I'm going to use rising slash first, then I'm going to use bandages. Next thing you're going to need for this build is the perk Invincible. Due to the fact that you do not have a lot of injury chance reduction, your goal is to be able to ignore as much injuries as you can. So the first perk you're going to need is Invincible in your core perks. Then for your support perks, you need Taxogen, obviously. Then for your defense perk, Immortal, just to help with some injury reduction chances. I mean injury chance reduction, I don't know why I keep saying it upside down. Then Kengo for your attack perk or damage perk, whatever you want to call it. So that is basically the difference between this build and that build. Then for the artifacts, you use Scarf only. Do not try to go for injury reduction, just use Scarf, go full damage on Scarf, and yeah, hopefully you should be able to get at least 180k damage with this build if you do get 15% damage on Scarf. And second artifact you should use is Crown, go full damage on Crown as well. And I'm so sorry. I made a huge mistake. The memories for this build is meant to be Flash Step, Quick Strike, and Guardian, not AG Surge. AG Surge now, it's optional. So it's going to be like this in order of importance for your third memory. The most important is going to be Guardian, so you can ignore 2 more injuries, which would make 6 in total. And that's crazy if you do get hit a lot. Plus the extra 2 injuries that you can ignore that you get from adrenaline. which will add up to 8 right now. So if you are able to roll Guardian here, you should use it instead of AG Surge. But if you are a more skilled player, I suggest using AG Surge instead of Guardian, because I do not expect an ODM player to get hit more than 8 times in a mission. I mean more than 6 times in a mission, but probably could happen in a raid. That's why Guardian is more important than AG Surge, because of raids. So yeah, you should probably go for Guardian and not AG Surge, depending. And that means in the skill power of your build, you shouldn't try to go for health to the end. Go for regen instead, just in case. If you do get Guardian, go for regen, not health. Okay. So here's a rundown of how your rejuvenation build should look like. All the way down health regen, all the way down full damage, then auto deduct on defense. For your perks, you should have invincible, Kengo, Immortal, and Tatsujin. For your prestige memories, you should have Flash Step, Quick Strike, and Guardian or AG Surge. For your artifacts, Crown and Scarf, both full damage on both stats. And for your skills, you should have Bandages or Rising Slash, Hand Grinder, Lethal Tempo, Emergency Location, and Last Stand. That should be your loadout for this build. Now, this is my own evaluation of the build so far. My fastest time with this build is 2 minutes 28 seconds. Now it's just slightly better than the other build, or it could just be skill issue, cause the number of titans differ in each mission. How skilled you play in one mission is not the same as you play in the other mission. Your lag, stuff like that. That could be what's contributed to it. But 2 seconds less is just not that much. But when it comes to raids, this build is way better for raids due to the fact I do not have to wait for my health regen to be trying to kill Erin. I could show you guys an example in a raid, but that depends on the length of the video so far. If it's not that long, I will be showing you guys an example of how it fares in a raid solo. So you'd be able to do raids faster with this build, but you do have the chance of dying more easily than with if you were to use the injury chance reduction build or last stand immortality build, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so I was wrong. If you use the rejuvenation build, you die. When I say more often, I mean a lot more often than if you were to use the last stand immortality build. With the last stand immortality build, dying out of the last stand skill is basically impossible. So therefore, I advise you all to go for the last stand immortality build. I only use the other build because one, because gems to reset skill points, which I don't want to do, and two, I think I like the risk of being able to die instead of playing Zoe, like cheesing the entire Zoe system, just making it pointless, just making it a good epic clan and removing all the drawbacks. So anyways, there is a variant for both builds, and in this variant all you have to do is it's this simple. You go down health regen until you get health regen 6. You do all this, but the difference here is that it's going to be a mixture it's going to be a mixture of the last stand immortality build and the rejuvenation build, because you're going to have both the health regen, and you, instead of going for being able to ignore injuries, you go for injury reduction as well, though your injury reduction would be much lower than it would be if you were to go for if you had to just go for injury reduction build as well, but it does solve the problem of waiting for your HP to regenerate, which I could say is a good thing. Just that your injury chance with this build is much less than if you had to use the injury reduction build. It's still pretty good. I advise you go for this build if you think you're a capable player and stuff like that. I say this build is the perfect build, but do note you do have more chances of getting injured with this build because you only have a 95% injury chance reduction. And basically the memories for this build is going to be really different because
You will need Flash Step, Quick Strike, and Fury Forge. It's just a full damage build. The build is meant for really high level players, and with this build you should be averaging like 230,000 to 250k damage per strike, depending on where your HP is and how many titans you've killed at the moment, which is pretty OP if you ask me. It's higher on the same level as Ackerman, basically, as an epic clan. So yeah, that's it.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and sub, join my Discord in the description below, and comment down what you want to see next. Also, don't forget to check out my other video right here.